don't really think I need this. Ew.
Ew, that's so gross.
Yeah, well, you've never been loogied on after hearing that sound, you know?
Yeah. Well, actually, no. I mean, I might have, but let's not get into that.
So
what are we doing?
I'm like, are you ready to roll? I don't know. Are you ready to
Dude,
go?
let's go. Let's go. Yeah,
Are you even
I thought you. Yeah, I mean, don't worry about that. So yes, I'm
Okay,
streaming.
well,
You
let
should
me hide these.
have awareness. That's true.
Hide floating meeting controls.
Boom.
All right,
Just turn on the
so
ring lights.
here we
Hey,
are
I
on
need
the
to
blog,
shave.
and really what I want to focus on right now is, as you can see, this says open, ... And as we go into here, let's review kind of this concept of really what I want to do is be able to click this, and it's going to open and show me that awesome navigation bar that I want, but I want it to stay there forever. So
Oh, you don't want it. You don't want it to expand and collapse. You don't want it to like open up and close.
No, I want it to stay on the side.
Oh, then we don't even need all that JavaScript we did last time.
What do you? So like, what do you mean?
You remember? Yeah, the JavaScript was to like have it open and close. But if you just want it open all the time, we don't need JavaScript. Do you want it open all the time, or?
Ooh, that is a good point. Yeah, I didn't really want it to like. This page just looks so wide to me. Is this just not centered? No, let's close this. Hold on. So it normally just look like this, and as you hover over here, for instance, you could have it open up
On hover?
But on hover, which is a thing, but like when it's not hovering, then it would just literally be like this empty space. Is this correct?
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Unless we figure out something to put there, like, yeah. The other thing is we want to think about what it looks like on a mobile phone, right? So I'm a big advocate for what's called mobile first development. So actually making it look good on a cell phone is good to have as your first priority.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. So if I was on a phone and I was looking at this.
Yeah, so if you're on a phone, right, then having it be like the left like 10% of the screen is like not good enough. You'd want it to be the whole width of the screen.
Exactly. I would definitely agree with that. I think if anything, there should be this floating navigation bar on the top. If I had a floating navigation bar that would be on hover across the top, where you could just kind of blank out the screen and choose from these options. Yeah. But on a mobile phone, it would be like, a horizontal navigation on hover that drops down with a blurred background, and you can choose from these same things.
Yeah, so on mobile, there's a couple common patterns. One would be menu up at the top, right? And the other would be a menu that covers the whole page, but it's like we call it a hamburger menu. You touch like the 3 lines. Have you seen like the 3 lines? And then the menu pops up for the whole screen.
Okay.
So those would be a couple options to consider. And so the second one, the hamburger menu, what you have right here is basically similar to that, except on a cell phone, it would go all the way across. By the way, if you're on TikTok, feel free to come over to YouTube or Twitch and you'll be able to see the whole screen.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling the dot, like the 3 lines, that you're used to seeing, and then it kind of drops to a page where it's, hey, you can choose between these. I think that that's really how I would enjoy it for my blog anyway, but
cool.
But either way, question for you, when you're talking about a hamburger, what was it?
Hamburger menu, just Google it. Google is your friend.
Word.
Actually, Audrey has a hilarious hamburger menu because she used an icon that looks like a hamburger. So it's like a pun.
That's great, dude. Audrey is awesome.
Yeah.
I wonder how she's doing with the job and everything. She did this, the whole learning to code thing, and it's working out great for her.
Yep.
I'm trying to be like Audrey, but what is a hamburger? Here we go. What's going on?
It's the three. It's the 3 lines. You see the 3 lines? That's the hamburger.
Yeah.
Menu.
So this is the one that I want. This is the one I was talking about.
Yeah.
Well, what was the other one you were talking about?
The other one is like you don't. The other one is just like you have a menu up at the top. Like what's going on right here? You see process, principles, perspectives.
Oh, and how it stays.
It's just It's just a menu up there at the top. And you can either have. So this is called a sticky menu. You scroll down and it sticks at the top. You can either have a sticky menu like that, or you can just have a normal menu where if you scroll down, then it just kind of goes away. It's like either way.
Okay.
Yeah, half of like getting started as a junior web developer is just learning the names for all of these different components and like design ideas. Like they all have names. Like what is a sticky menu or a sticky header? What is a hamburger menu? Just like this vocabulary lesson. For me anyway, I don't know about you, but for me, like the vocabulary lesson was harder than actually learning the logic of programming.
Oh, definitely. I mean, not
because I didn't know what anything. I didn't know what anything meant. People would just be like having full-on conversations, and it literally sounded like Latin to me.
No, definitely understand what you mean right there. Because when you're talking about hamburger menu, I'm like, are we at McDonald's?
Yeah.
Learning to code. What's going on? But it did kind of make me a little hungry. But now I've learned something, so that's fun. And I the only bad thing is I suck at fucking decisions. So do you have a preference here on if you think I should have a sticky header?
Thinking about what to do, I would think about there's a few things that we can do. One is mobile first development, right? So what's going to look better on a mobile phone? Why don't you right click the screen? Oh man, I have a viewer that said stop hosing around and log into LeetCode. Click the inspect button. We're not going to be doing LeetCode for a while. So when you clicked inspect, you notice it opened up this panel. This is called DevTools. We have Elements, Console, and all of these tabs. To the left of the Elements tab, there is an icon. It looks like an iPhone on top of an iPad. Yeah. So this is a mobile emulator. So it's going to make your browser think that it's a browser on a cell phone. So to the left of the mobile emulator, there's the selection, and you have them both selected. Can you click the selector? Just click the selector. Yeah, to deselect it because we didn't want them both active. Perfect. Okay, so now on your screen, you can notice it kind of like squished the width, right? To make it kind of like a cell phone. If you move your mouse up, you'll see something that says no throttling.
No throttling.
Yeah, don't click that. I just wanted you to move your mouse up. So this bar left to right is like your mobile emulator settings bar. So from no throttling, let's move your mouse to the left to where it says dimensions responsive. Do you see dimensions responsive?
Yeah, it's right here.
Cool. So you can pick a preset for which phone do you want to act like. The iPhone SE is generally regarded as the smallest phone that anyone needs to support. And in fact, a lot of people think that it's too small and you don't even need to support it. So yeah, so you pick this one. It has a screen width of 375 pixels. So basically the point of this is whenever you think about a website, the narrowest website that you will need to consider is the iPhone SE 375 pixel width. And a lot of people will put that minimum bar at like 450 or 500, so they won't even support the iPhone SE. In other words, if it looks goofy on the iPhone SE, like they don't care because not that many people use them.
Haters? You want to know? I'm like personally offended because I'm literally holding an iPhone SE right now, and it's my phone. So like I will be remembering this 375 width.
Dope.
What about is this a normal height, or are you going to talk about that?
Yeah, that's just the preset height for the iPhone SE. Height usually doesn't matter though, Jess, because when you think about websites, there's something we call responsive design. So whenever I said mobile first development, that means we want it to look good on a cell phone. And then the question is, if you have a design that looks good on a cell phone, like the one in front of us, how does that scale to a desktop? And the answer is it basically always scales. Um, there's a problem where you have extra space on desktop sometimes, but there's never a problem where you don't have enough space because you grew the screen. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like you don't have to worry about squishing a picture because you're making it bigger, not smaller. So the whole problem with like squishing stuff or like I can't fit this stuff in my website, that only happens if you start on desktop and then you go to a cell phone. You're like squishing it down. And that's really, really hard. That's a pain in the ass. But you only have that problem in terms of width. You don't actually ever have that problem in terms of height because you can always just scroll down further.
Yeah, okay.
So that's why the height is actually not like a big constraint. It actually really doesn't matter too much. There is a question around, hey, I want the user to see the most important things when they first visit my site. I want them immediately to see it and they shouldn't have to scroll down. And we call that the above the fold design. So like the very first things you see before you scroll. So that's interesting. It's like what's above the fold versus what you have to scroll for. But once you're scrolling, it really doesn't matter if you're like scrolling a little or a lot.
Okay.
Okay, so few tips that I wanted to make. One is that we do mobile first development. So think about what's going to look good on a cell phone. The second is that we can pick a reference website. So you pick out a good website, you say, hey, I want to be like them, and then you look at what they're doing. So we've done that here with Adobe. And then what do you notice? What are they doing with their menu on mobile?
Okay. Yeah. So,
What are they doing? I'm asking you.
oh, these people specifically.
Yeah, this is Adobe, like the company that makes
they're doing
Photoshop.
more. So right now, for instance, if I don't believe this is navigating like a normal phone, is it?
I mean, instead of swiping, you have to click and drag, so that's a little bit different, but it's pretty much pretending to be a swiper thing.
Okay, well, it doesn't even have a sticky menu, or I mean, it has the hamburger menu.
That's right.
So
their mobile,
so their down past.
Yeah, so their mobile menu design is they're using the hamburger menu.
Yeah. Yep.
And so option 3, the last thing that I would mention, this takes a little more experience to use it sometimes, but sometimes not. And that is if you can just in your head estimate how difficult 2 different choices are, and then the good old keep it simple stupid rule, the KISS rule, which, you know, even if you're not a programmer, that's a good kind of like tip for just decision making in general, is keep it simple, right?
Yeah.
So,
okay.
so those are the 3 things that I would call out to you. One would be, you know, keep it simple, but in that case, you would need to be able to like actually compare the options and like how many hours it's going to take. If you can't do that, then maybe pick a reference website, and maybe pick like multiple reference websites, because there's always the odds that if you pick one website where something's really cool, oops, it might accidentally be really hard. But if you're looking at like, say, like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and if they're having a common theme, the odds are that that's not going to be difficult because like everyone's using it, so it's probably something that's a pretty good bang for the buck. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. And then so went backwards from keep it simple, pick a reference website, and then the first one. So going backwards to the first one is just what do you think as a user? What have you used on a mobile phone that worked well? Or if you picture it in your mind, what do you think looks good? That would be kind of the route if you're kind of more of a design person, if you like, you know, drawing and stuff like that, which I think you do. Me, I would care more about like, does it work well than does it look good? But anyway, those would be the 3 things that I would say, like, think about these when you're trying to decide how to build any component. And in this case, we're talking about a menu, but really any component.
Okay. I was kind of trying to look at a reference site, but I don't really think that's needed. I just kind of, I think I'd like to do the I was thinking about doing both of them, but I guess I'll keep it simple and I'll just choose one. So I'm going to do the hamburger menu though. I know that's not the most simple of the two, actually. Like a sticky one, like a sticky header would actually be more simple, but in terms of that's for estimating the difficulty. But when you also use the other things you were talking about, like using a reference site, a lot of these mobile, and even the ones that I think of, all use hamburger menus. Some use a combination of the two even, but I'm going to try to combine those two things, keep it simple using the reference site. I'm going to do the hamburger one. I think that really does look best on a cell phone. So
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's great news. I think you made the right choice. I think currently, like, hamburger menus are considered the go-to menu for cell phones. And the other reason this is good news is even though hamburger menus are more complicated, you actually already have in your site, you already have most of the code for it. Because it's just the same stuff that you did last time for that slide in and out nav. The only difference is that you would want it to slide like all the way across the screen.
Yeah. Hey, this computer is already acting goofy, and I'm like, do you think that we might be able to stop streaming so we can see if that is what's actually causing this?
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
So sorry, dude.
No worries. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. At least
sorry,
you got.
Y'all.
No. I think they got a cool lesson in how to think about like how to pick what style of a component to build, which is an important lesson. So we'll pause it there. Thanks for tuning in, and tune in next time. And
on the next episode of
hopefully you'll get to see some actual code. So see you later.